Easy Yee, how are we?
Johnny, I'm doing good.
Okay, that's a positive start to the podcast. I'm not used to you actually answering that question that you had the last couple of weeks. Usually there's just some random story that comes in at this stage of the podcast and completely throws me off topic. But the whole I'm actually answering feeling good. I'm glad you're feeling good. I'm feeling good too. Thank you for asking.
No, right, do you know what? I'm not feeling good. You know why? Because my mum was giving out to me because I was giving you abuse.
She's dead right. She's dead right. Thank you, Mama Jane.
And to listen to my mum for 45 minutes going, you can't be saying that to Sean. Everyone must think you're horrible. And I was like, good. I hope they do. Because I am.
They're horrible. You are horrible.
You deserve it. You deserve it.
Speaking of shout outs, I better give one out to my wife who sorted me out. Went on the Facebook marketplace, got myself a spin bike for dirt cheap, as she always does find these steals. So I've been on the bike all week. The calf is feeling good, but it's at that stage now where it feels good that I think I can run, but I'm just afraid that if I start running on it straight away now, it's going to be a lot worse.
You're going to do the classic runner thing. I'll just go for a run, see if I'm still injured.
That's exactly what I'm going to do. That's exactly, but I put that off a couple of days. I've put that off a few days. I was going to do that this week, but like even... Or they just coming up and down the road and stuff like that. Like I did a little 10, 15 second little shuffle. I'm like, oh, it might be all right. And then I walk. I'm like, just do a little shuffle and see how it feels. It feels all right. So I'm hoping it's not too bad. I'm hoping I get to obviously intervals and stuff is out. Any sort of fast pace. But I'm just thinking there's real slow. Just see what happens for a couple of K tomorrow and just kind of slowly build back up from there. But I hate the bike. I feel like an absolute beginner on the bike. Like just no fitness levels, no nothing. I hate it.
Everyone feels like a beginner on the bike, even when, like, for me, when I get back on it, well, because it's been so long since I've been on it, it's you're always a beginner. Like, it's just it is very humbling. Even the seating position, anything over, I always say like 20 minutes is fine. Anything over 30 minutes, you start to do the wiggle every couple of minutes, and the longer you go, it's bad.
And even the timing of it just feels like an hour on the bike feels like 3 times as long than an hour on a run with only like less than half the benefit. So I've been on it, like I've got 3 good training sessions in this week. I've been on the bike 4 or 5 times, not for that long. The longest was only an hour, just mentally. The old Garmin just says detraining all week. I'm like, feck you, Garmin. Done like 7 or 8 hours of training.
This is the annoying thing about Garmin. If you're not running outside or you're not doing something outside, it's like you didn't train. It's like, what do you mean you did it on a treadmill? Yeah, we have the setting, but it doesn't matter. You actually didn't. So like I did a really hard hill segment. So for here, there is no real hills. There's a couple of, they're not hills, not right. There's ups and downs. There's not hills. It's flat. So for me, the only way to get a hill session in is the treadmill. And I actually quite enjoyed it because it's always uphill. Don't have to run downhill. You know, you can plan your segment. Quite a hard session, like 3-4 minute zone 4. So pretty much maximum effort or just below maximum effort. It ends up being maximum effort at the end of the 4 minutes anyway, because you're goose and you recover and you go again. I do that. I'm like, I'm cooked. I'm absolutely goosed. And like t-shirt is just saturated. Like Garmin, nothing.
So annoyed.
You are recovering. Do you know what you can do, Garmin? Shove it up your and I'll probably end up buying a new Garmin as well. The Phoenix 5, John, it's starting to show its age. I have it 6 years. I have it since March 2019.
So are you looking at different watches now at the moment?
Yeah.
And what do you look for now on the watch? Because for me, back in the day with the ultra marathons, it was battery life was the main thing for me because my own lasts less than 24 hours. For you, what are you looking at?
Durability. I hit my arm off, I don't know how many. It's only when you wear something fragile you realize how much you hit your arm off thing. So I'm going to go with something durable.
Right.
I was looking in, like there's a few different brands. There's the Chorus ones. There's no, like everything is really good. Garmin just it's just been around longer, so it has a few more nice to haves. You know, it has a little bit more, I suppose, data from all the people who've bought Garmins over the year. It knows what people want in terms of insights. So it has some more stuff. It's definitely more expensive. And the watch I was looking for was the Phoenix 7. They brought out the Phoenix 8. So I do the same with my phones. The minute they bring out the new one, I'm like, ooh, where's the old one on sale?
Yeah.
So the Phoenix 7 Pro, I think it's called. I think it has a torch on it and everything, Sean.
I think that's the one on my wrist.
Phoenix 7 Pro, or in which did you get a
The solar panel.
one?
Oh my God, I have to check the back of it now because I know there's different types. But I think it's the Phoenix 7 Solar Pro I have.
Yeah, that's what I'm going to pick up.
Phoenix 7X Sapphire Solar Pro. I bounced it off everything. I don't even notice. Like, I'm just an idiot. So,
amazing.
absolutely no damage to it. I love it.
I'm going to give out about Garmin telling me that the treadmill is not worth shit, but I'm going to buy one. It's just I'm having issues. Sometimes it charges, sometimes it doesn't. Satellite connection, GPS connection may or may not happen. You just don't know. So it's getting to that stage. I know people are listening, be like, "Oh, don't worry about the technology and this and that and the other." I was like, I get that. I do. You can do it off deal. You can do it off. But once you know, it's hard to unknow. You know, once you know, I can get that information. It's hard to let go of that information.
It's like the iPhone for me. It's like you could probably get a better Android phone that has more different things on it and all the rest. But I know the usability and everything to do with the iPhone, so I'm going to stick with the iPhone. I can't go back from 128 gig down to 32 gig. I have to now keep the 128 gig and stuff from there and have those extra features that I may or may not use.
Yeah, but look, you laughed at me 6 years ago when I bought this watch. It's Phoenix 5. €447 I paid because they brought out the 6 or something like that, and I bought the 5. And 6 years of sport, gym sessions, yoga sessions. I've wore it to every fancy event. I never take it off.
Same.
So it's, in terms of getting value for money now, the next one, it's not cheap, but, for me, the value is there, I think. So yeah, it's definitely, especially when you're doing all these events and long distance, it's nice to know how far you've gone and to see what you've done.
The maps and stuff are cool. I will say this though. I've used the torch once, and that was just to figure out how to use it. I've never once been on a run, and even I was starting like lately now. When I was going out for evening runs, was starting to get a little bit dark. Never crossed my mind once. Stick on the old torch in this because it just swings every which way. But even still, I just forget that the watch has a torch on it.
So for me, it wouldn't be for that. It'd be when I'm running on one of the country roads and it's getting dark. Rather than having the torch on my phone to signal cars, I'll just have it on my watch. I know it swings every which way, but that's good for me. It's basically like, what is that swinging? And people might slow down. So for me, that is probably the only. I wouldn't be running like holding me watch out like I'm talking into it. Like, where am I going? Yeah. So for me, it's more of I'm here element, which I thought would be pretty cool. Listen, it's just a battery drainer at the end of the day.
But
it could come in handy on some of those later runs on country roads and stuff. So rather than carrying the phone and the torch and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, no, it's exciting times. So I'll have to wait till I go back and see if I can find a good deal on a Phoenix 7. And you want to buy a slightly dying Phoenix 5, let me know.
You've sold that watch so well for people that they're like, oh yeah, jump it. I mean, we'll have to re-edit this one.
I'm going to buy a new band from him. My brother doesn't listen. I'm going to clean it up and give it to him. Happy Christmas. He said you wanted to get into running. Here you go. This is a great watch. I'll just replace the band. It'll be like brand new.
Well, hopefully your mom's listening. Your mom's going to tell you
every time.
You're dead right, Mama G. You're dead right.
She's coming out to Dubai now in a couple of weeks when I get back. So, yeah,
brilliant.
I'll bring her running with me then. Punish her.
Speaking of traveling and stuff like that, our next guest come up to the podcast has ran the Camino. I'm not even too sure what that means.
I'm not even sure what it means. I've heard the Camino. Actually, a sidebar. Is there a Camino now in Ireland? The Boyne Camino.
You're asking the wrong person.
Because I thought I know the Camino. It was wasn't it some sort of religious pilgrimage walk?
That's what I thought it was. That you do walks and stuff like that. But I know very little on it apart from what our next guest is about to tell us on it.
And then our endurance folk took over and said, no, it's ours now. But yeah, our next guest, Sean, is another great one. A big friend of the podcast who's always been around, more and more for me in particular. But it's a great episode. Again, for all those who are training for marathons and doing their own thing and We are all running for something, from something, or to do something. So it's another great episode for us this week. I'm very excited to get into it. We've done a lot of talking, so it's probably best to let the episode do the rest of the talking.
And with that said, it's this week's episode of the Any Given Run Day podcast. Let's go. Our next guest on the Any Given Run Day podcast has been a huge help to the podcast over the last few years. From putting up with Eric in Dubai for a couple of years, from helping me with the merch for our podcast marathon trip earlier in the year in Barcelona, a very active runner who has ran the Camino, myself and Eric will find out exactly what that means, and is running the Dublin Marathon this year for charity, Munro, at long last, wearing the AGR kit and all you've helped us get to so many of our people here. Welcome to the podcast. How you getting on?
Lads. The very best. How are things with you guys? Is it good?
Mon, he did you dirty. He didn't mention you finished 7th in a park run.
I heard there was only 8 people at it, so I didn't mention it.
There was only 6 at it. You still finished 7th. Oh, God. Mon, how did you?
I've enjoyed this, lads. Thanks very much. See you later.
Yeah. Everyone gets such a good intro. I just don't know why he let you down like that. You know, it's important to be honest with these things, you know, for transparency. Mon, you are very welcome to the podcast, your very own special episode. You've endured us enough. You've listened enough. You know how this works. But what people want to know is a bit about you. How did you get into running? And what illness did you pick up to make you like us?
Well, running, I kind of came to run a little bit later because as a kid growing up through school and things like that, it was a bit of football. But my first love was karate and martial arts. So from about 5-6 years of age all the way up to 18, I'd say, it was just purely 3-4 nights a week, karate, from teaching to training and everything like that in between. And running only sort of started to happen after Clodagh and I met, my wife now. And you know that sort of meme that's sort of like, God, my worst fear is if I marry into a family that sort of goes to a park run on a Saturday or goes on a run on holiday. I was kind of goosed from the start because Clodagh was running marathons, her dad does Ironman, and her mum's a personal trainer and does spin classes. So it was only a matter of time before I got roped into running as well.
And you don't want her doing karate, so
exactly, yeah.
Because with the way your running goes, she'd probably beat you up as well. After about a month, she'd be better than you.
That's a different podcast, though, Irish.
Oh, we'll listen, Mon. You can tell us here. No one really listens to these things anyway.
Yeah.
It was a good transition into sport for you, and since then you've very much kept it up. You've taken on a few marathons around the world, and when I picked you up, probably the nicest element or the best byproduct of this podcast was that as I was flying out to Dubai, we got a message and a long message and an email saying, listen, I'm out here. It's a new environment. Love to meet up for a coffee. Sean was like, someone wants to follow you around Dubai. Do we need to do a background check? What's this? We were at the point where people don't really reach out to us, you know, like we were just 2 people with microphones. And when I met you, you were very much in the running scene, taking on marathons. You were, I think at the time, you were in the build-up to the Dubai Marathon. I think I met you in the January and Dubai Marathon's around the January, February time, I think.
Yeah, so with the heat that's over there, they try to do it in their winter, which is still 30 degrees. So first week of January was the Dubai Marathon.
Munro, what is it like, really like running in the heat in Dubai? Because Eric says it's like running in hell. So like, and that's why he's put him off a couple of runs and all the rest. Is it as bad as Eric puts it out on the podcast, running in Dubai?
It's worse.
Yes, Munro.
Talk to him before the podcast. Yeah.
Thank God. I don't have to burn you out of your house now. Oh, so glad. This is amazing. This is brilliant.
It's the heat you can deal with, but it's just the humidity. It is just dead. Like you're walking from here to the shop like a 5 minute and you're just drowned. You have to go home and shower and change straight after it. And it's unforgiving. It's just like a dead heat constantly.
Oh, that's good to
Nah,
hear.
Sean's right, and there goes the segment. You're about that, Sean.
So the
Thing is,
Dubai
you're good.
Marathon. Now move on to the Dubai Marathon, I suppose, on that one. You got to
I
take
know
back over there.
the two of you haven't been in Mozambique. It's even worse. But it was good, and what we found was, and the power of community. We got involved with the Adidas Run Club, and that's where we spent a lot of time training together, wasn't it?
Yeah, and again, that's you're sort of saying there the power of running. That was a free group that had been set up over there, and you literally just had to rock up and sign in, and they had coaches and track days and really, really well sort of structured sessions the whole time, and it was what a way to build and make a community over there, because there's a lot of expats over there working and things like that. So similar to you, Eric, when you went, you didn't know anyone. So like that, when you rock up to go training, straight away you've got one thing in common with these people already. You're all here to go for a run, and there's very few of them are sort of all knowing each other. So you're kind of like, hi, how are you? I'm here to train. Great. That's one thing we have in common. It just breaks down those barriers very, very quickly.
Yeah, it was brilliant. It was definitely one for us to get to meet people. I suppose Dubai was probably a little bit different in the sense that run clubs very much were better than dating apps or friend finders or anything, because there were so many. There was people, you could rock down to Kite Beach on a Saturday morning, Sean, and there's 6 or 7 different run clubs, each with 70 or 80 people who are just there, never ran, never did anything, but they know there's 70, 80 other people, and they'll get to meet people. Yeah, they might struggle for the 30 minutes or the 5K or whatever, but you really got to meet people and make a lot of friends.
Big time. And yeah, just that social network. And they were very communal, apart from the training aspect of it as well. But then there was the coffee mornings after, when we did remember the iftar as well.
Yeah. At the break of Ramadan, we did an iftar dinner. Yeah, it was great.
And that, again, is just bringing all these people together to break bread and sort of, have food together at the end of a fast.
Well, we weren't running fast. Let's just clarify. It was there was nothing fast about me and Munro. Anyway, that's something that's definitely a given. Anyway, but yeah, moving on from that, you spent a good bit of time in Dubai. We trained a good bit together. You moved back to Ireland. You very much kept the flag flying at home on my behalf for the podcast. You took on a good few more races, and you're a big advocate of the park run, local runs, and local run clubs.
Yes, so training with Lusk Athletic at the moment. And again, similar to what we were sort of saying with the Adidas crew on the far side, just the community and the benefits from running with crew are unbelievable. And the coming together of it and the gains you get from running with people that are better than you. Like, you're clutching onto someone's coattails that's sort of 10, 20 seconds a K faster than you. It's a nice carrot to have dangled in front of you to try get a little bit closer as the weeks go on and on and on.
The morning I talked to you, Munro, it was like a couple of weeks before doing the, we're all going to Barcelona and we're handing out bags and gear to people, and I got there, and thankfully you were wearing the same AGR t-shirt you got now, because in the Pope's Crosses, all these different run clubs, I'm like, I've no idea where I'm going. I'm a couple of minutes late. I'm not organised at all. And thankfully, Munro was there to help me. I just saw the t-shirt, other people like, okay, that's definitely my crew. I'm just pulling up, and yeah, it's like, well, I could relate to how you're talking about run clubs there, like being able to talk to people after and have things to talk about. Like when you rock up into a group, knowing the group, you haven't ran with the group, you're like, what the hell do you talk about here? Like, I get socially awkward that way, but you were there helping me out with the bags and all the rest. And then I was like, I don't even know where we're going to run. You're like, oh, I'll take it from here. And then just even talking to you that day, you were very knowledgeable, not only the routes and stuff for Phoenix Park, but different runs and different people running around there and stuff like that. What kind of runs have you done in around that area? Like, what are your favourite kind of runs and races to do? Sore legs after a long run? Aching muscles holding you back?
Meet your new training partner, Ultra Pure Essential Oil Muscle Rub Roll-On. Fast, effective recovery wherever you are.
Infused with 9 powerful essential oils and arnica, this vegan no-mess roll-on is perfect post-race, post-workout, or just winding down.
Roll this onto tired legs, arms or back and massage in. Simple, soothing and effective. Your muscles will thank you.
Made in County Mayo by an award-winning Irish family business, Ultra Pure means quality you can feel and trust.
Find Ultra Pure Essential Oil Muscle Rub Roll-On in pharmacies and health stores nationwide, or shop online on the new Ultra Pure store, ultrapurelabs.ie. By listening to this advert, you are supporting Irish businesses and this podcast. But for now, let's get back to the episode.
Well, I kind of know the Phoenix Park a little bit well because I did some training with Gary O'Hanlon in there. And I had done 7 or 8 marathons and was trying to get the 4-hour marker and was just not getting it at all. It's 4:26, 4:25. I was getting to about 30 odd K and absolutely falling off a cliff. So I reached out for a bit of help and kind of went to one of the best in the country in Gary. And we did a lot of our training in the Phoenix Park. So I had a bit of idea of what a 10K or what a route would look at in there. And I remember when I got my first plan off Gary and I was kind of looking at the sheet and I was kind of saying to Claude, I was like, I think Gary's given me like 2 weeks worth of a plan here. Because the way I was doing my training beforehand, I'd still be now trying to get the 4-hour. Because I was like, I know I'll do like a half fast run midweek and then do a long run on the weekend. And thinking that would be enough. And then I got Gary's plan and it's like week 1, 90 kilometers, 6 days a week.
Jesus.
What is this? And then it just kind of like I was miles off where the mileage you needed to be doing to try and get the 4 hours for me anyway.
How was that jump in mileage?
It was fairly intense. Couldn't do it straight away. Found myself getting a couple little sort of niggles and strains, but even I was still then getting out like the 5 or the 6 nights a week, and even maybe not doing the full distance of it. But then very quickly, just the consistency built up, and then you're able to start clocking up the mileage. And touch wood, no injuries or anything like that. But yeah, when I saw the plan the first time, I was like, right, I'm way off the money here.
It probably is one of the scary things when you go from that level you were talking about to the level when they deal in miles, because some of the athletes are training, they're clipping at certain paces where you can put a mileage to it and you know they'll roughly cover X amount in a week. It'll take them this long. When you take new people and you give them miles, it's a hell of a lot different to saying hours, you know, because the distance you can cover in an hour versus what someone else covers in an hour is totally different.
Yeah, big time. But it was interesting. And then
Munro I don't think you slept that week, did you? You must have just been out the whole time, 90K.
Oh, just pacing around the house. Yeah, but eventually got the 4-hour in, where was it? Valencia.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, that was left it tight, 3:57 something. But it was sub 4, so I took it.
Absolutely.
You've done a fair bit of travelling then for marathons, have you? You said 7 or 8 there, you've Valencia. We didn't touch on Dubai there. Eric was saying you're building towards that. And obviously, the best one was obviously back in March for the Barcelona one. Us, that goes without question. But the second best, what would be the second best you've done?
Probably one in Ireland, actually. It's one called the Burren Challenge out in Ballyvaughan in County Clare.
Oh.
So you start in this tiny little fishing village, sort of right on the edge of the country. And you go about 2K along the road, then you take a hard left and you're through a field and up into the mountains. It's about 850 meters of elevation throughout the course.
Sub 4 wasn't happening that day.
Yeah, but that's an amazing one. If you've ever got a chance to do that one, it is just beautiful. Like you're on the top of the Burren and you're like looking down on the wild Atlantic Way and next stop America.
Oh, I'm in. Sign me up.
I did it last year at the end of May. And so when the first half is pretty much just a sheer climb. And I was coming down the descent at one point and I got chatting to this lady that was running with me. Her name was Denise and she twigged the t-shirt. It was the AGR t-shirt I was wearing. And it turns out her brother, who's a cardiologist, had been on the pod before.
Oh, wow.
And she recognized the T-shirt, and she's like, "I know this podcast."
Nobody is more surprised that other people know this podcast than us. Let's just say,
Yeah. Every
whatever
time.
surprise you have, we definitely have it. You've taken on a few marathons. You've done a good bit of long distance. You've always been involved around the endurance. What brought you towards the Camino? First of all, what is the Camino?
And it's written. It's a pilgrim route. It's kind of a religious, spiritual route that people do. Well, there's 3 or 4 different versions you could do it, but all along the coastline, sort of through Portugal and up into the north of Spain. And yeah, it's well, you asked why we did it. It was actually a pal of mine, Dan. I'm trying to get him back into running because I'd done karate with him for years and years and years. And eventually he came back and started running again, and went from the park run, the 5K, to, you know what, let's go do the Camino. And I was kind of like, man, that Camino's long and it's big mileage and everything like that. But he's fairly determined and set the challenge of doing about 245K over 5 days. So it was over a marathon a day for 5 days along the Camino, starting in Portugal and then going up north and finishing in Santiago.
Is this a race thing? Not a race, but is this like you start with a group of people, or you're on your own? You just started like, we'll start at 5 o'clock in the morning and go. What way does it work?
You can do it any way you want. There's no fixed time to start or to finish. The majority of what happens is like the big towns where people can sleep and stay overnight are generally about sort of 15 to 20K away from each other. So people will start sharp in the morning, do their walking with their backpacks and everything like that on it, spend 4 or 5 hours to do the 20K, because the terrain is it's not great. Like, it's trails and beach and mountains and everything like that. So it's slow going. And then when they get to their 15, 18, 20K location, they'll park up for the evening and have a little look around the town, go for dinner, everything like that. And then the next morning, do the next leg and the next leg and the next leg. So like, we were talking to people there that were on the Camino for 3, 4, 5 weeks at a time, and had no flight home, and I kind of go, I'm going to see where I get to after 5 weeks and I'll go from there. And we're just meeting different little pods of people as they walked along, have a chat here, stop, have a coffee there, and just living their best life, but walking the whole coastline of sort of Portugal and up into Spain.
But obviously 50K a day wasn't a leisurely 5-week challenge. That was covering quite a substantial amount of ground. Was it the aim? You've talked about the terrain and stuff. Difficult to run? Is it something you can run? Is it something you'd walk? Or what are the limitations to it in terms of, because that adds a big factor into how long your day is. The terrain is the biggest factor.
So when we were planning it out, we sort of had locations, and like I said, the majority of people, when you read all the forums and we were doing our research on it, sort of say, about 15 to 20K a day over the terrain is doable, but you'd be tired. And because a lot of people, like I was saying, and do it, they have their backpacks, they're like everything but the kitchen sink with them. We didn't bring the backpacks. For €7 a day, you're able to get them collected at your accommodation and brought ahead to your next stopping point.
For
So
€7.
that's what we did.
100%.
Absolutely. Yeah, I'm in. Count me in. Jesus.
So when we were doing the running part of it, now there was 3 of us that went, and myself and Dan ran it, and another one, the lad's Graham, he walked it. So he did the same distance, but walked it. So he was leaving 3 hours ahead of us every morning.
Wow.
That's harder. That's harder. Not in my mind. Like, even there's like a 7K loop here, and one day the wife was like, "Yeah, no, I walked." I'm like, "What do you mean you walked all that distance?" Now I'd run it, no bother, but just the time it take to walk, I'm like, "No, I'm not spending that time on me legs doing that." No, it just sounds mad to me.
Like, he was up 6, half 6 every morning and gone out the door. So he had 2.5 hours under his belt before we were even finishing the second coffee and heading out the door.
Teeth.
That's commitment.
That's serious commitment.
And
come here. I have to ask, just for the mental factor. At what point did you catch him? And what does his morale do? What does his morale do when you pass him out?
He was actually fairly okay about it the whole time. Like, because he knew we were going to catch him at some point, and he was dead on with it. He was like, "Yeah, then go for it." He's not a runner, but he loves walking, and like he'd go for a walk around here 5-6 nights of the week, just stick a podcast on and walk the whole town, like not a bother to him. So being that amount of time on his feet, he was totally happy with it. But I
Have you any recommendations for podcasts? So the three amigos make it to the Camino. You started in Portugal.
Correct. Yeah, in Porto. So we flew into Porto and then I got a taxi about 20 minutes down to a place called Via de Conde. And from Via de Conde, that was right on the coast. And you're just the first 50k, sort of keep the sea on your left-hand side and just straight. Follow the coast the whole way up.
Oh my God.
But I couldn't get out, I couldn't get over the terrain because it was so varied. Like, you're starting in a little seaside town, and that was all lovely, and you had like the beach paths, and it was all nice and springy underfoot. But 5k into it, that disappears, and you're up onto the cliffs and onto the mountains and everything like that, with still the coast on your left-hand side. Then from down off the mountains, you're down onto a beach section. Then you're back into one of the little towns. It's just, I couldn't get over how varied of the terrain was. Like, I'd heard about the Camino before this, but I always thought it was just going to be like a trail or a route that everyone followed. Not to this extent, how varied and interesting it was the whole way around.
Probably good though, one for the body, that it's changing, because you get used to something, it drones on, it's this, that. Now, mentally and physically, after 35, 40 minutes, maybe an hour, it's like, this is totally different, and what's next? Tiring, don't get me wrong, definitely more tiring, but made it probably a little bit more enjoyable.
It was incredible. And like that, you'd never been there, so it was totally new from the start. And it's not a race day either, so you're not overly concerned about, right, I have to hit my markers every kilometer or anything like that. And we had, like the camel packs. So you had your water and you had a bit of food with you. So that was beneficial as well. And the no pressure of having to hit your markers or having to get 10k done in the 45 minutes or 50 minutes if you want to do a 4 or 5 hour, whatever you're trying to get. So it was just, and like even you're sort of saying there, taxing on the body, it was like, I felt worse after doing one marathon sometimes than you did after doing 3 days of 50k, because you've made this little arrangement with your head. You're kind of going, right, you're going to do big mileage, you're going to be a little bit sore, and you kind of go, that's okay though, because you've done 150k over the last 3 days. You're allowed to be sore. Whereas you know yourself, sometimes you're 15k into a long run and the body starts giving up, and that's when the demons start coming in. They're like, why am I hurting? Like, I'm only 15k in. But when you've made that deal with your head already, you're like, no, you've done 150k. You're allowed to have sore feet at this stage. They didn't actually feel all that sore.
I just taking the race, the pace element out of it, that makes a lot of sense to me. Yeah, you talked there about what I think is a fantastic tip in itself, that €7 thing for the bag to meet you in the next location if you're bringing stuff with you going to Portugal. Is there anything there that you did in looking back in hindsight you wish you knew, or for someone listening to the podcast thinks that would love to do the Camino now after they hear you talking about, go, what, that's in the bucket list, I need to do that. Is there any tips you think they should know about?
Need fuel that keeps up with your pace? Meet Perform's Carb Gel with 30 grams of fast-acting carbs, powered by 3 fuel sources for sustained energy when it matters the most. Packed with cluster dextrin for smooth digestion and a steady release. No spikes, no crashes.
All that in a compact 40 milliliter sachet, tested under Informed Sport, so you know it's clean and competition ready. Whether you're chasing the podium or just in an XPR, Perform Carb Gel gets you there faster, longer, stronger. If you're looking to stock up, you can use the code AGR to get 20% off your order.
By listening to this advert, you are supporting Irish businesses and this Irish podcast. Time to get back to the episode.
Book your accommodation early. Like, have your accommodation laid out and try get ones that has like a pool or something like that you can stick your legs, cool your legs down after the day. Because we're kind of saying, like, because you're at the coast, we're like, oh, I'll be fine. You can go for a bit of a swim or something like that. But the weather, the weather was amazing, but the surf on the sea as we were going along, it's ferocious. I've never seen chop like it. And there's all hazard signs and warning signs like, don't go into the water, because you see the waves when they're crashing and breaking. It would take you at the waist and you'd be goosed.
Oh,
like
wow.
it was
Gone.
no, it was savage. Like, there'd probably sea creatures in there as well, Eric. It's
Them sea monsters.
It's the sea monsters. They're everywhere.
You had me. You lost me at the word sea. But it's it sounds incredible. When you got that, obviously you took off. I'm guessing in your head it was, I'm gonna do 5 marathons in 5 days, and I'm gonna run when I can run and walk when I can walk.
Yeah.
Were you humbled by how different the terrain was? Did it take longer? What was your overall plan? Because you said there was 3 of you. 1 was walking, 2 of you were kind of running and taking it on.
Yeah.
What way did the first day, and I'm sorry to go back to the first day, but to build a kind of picture of what each day was like, what did it mean in terms of, there has to be some checkpoints along the way?
Yeah. So day 1 was to run as much of it as possible. So when we started, I was always kind of confident in it and liked the idea that we knew that sort of you'd get tired and it could be a little bit slower towards the end. But it's kind of at the start, I'm pretty sure I can knock out 10K, 11K in an hour. And once you've done that, you're kind of going, I'm on the pig's back here. And you can start looking at the finish line. So yeah, it was like 10, probably about 15 or 18K on the first day was just running, no bother, because you're relatively fresh, and just did it that way. And then kind of stopped, got a bit of food. Like, again, being able to remove the element of a race day made, if you saw a cool cafe or a restaurant or something like that, you could stop, have your coffee, have your croissant, have your food. Like, the second day, I think it was, you have to do a water crossing. So you're leaving Portugal and going into Spain. And so we were coming up, and it was an extra 6K sort of to go around one of the headlands. We came out of a forest section. We said we'd met up, the 3 of us, at this stage, because I said, look, we'll do the border crossing together just in case there's any messing or anything like that. And we came out of a forest area, and it was like something out of a movie, because all you hear is taxi. And we're kind of looking around, right? And there's this dude standing under a tree having a smoke like that, and we kind of goes, talking to us, and he's like, taxi, water taxi, and we're like, no, we're going around. He's like, same. So for €6, he saved us like 7 kilometers having to go around where the official taxi was, and he blew us across the water in a little tuk-tuk boat for €6 a head.
I'd say your mate who was walking was like, this was the best idea ever.
Yeah. So, but it was married. So then we'd left Portugal, we'd gone into Spain, and he dropped us like on it was like the tin boats with a little outboard.
Yeah.
So when we got the far side, like, you could see the official dock where the big fancy boats were all coming in. But he just like ran his boat up onto the beach and beached it entirely. And we left out the far side. Yeah. So then we had to like lift his boat and turn it and send him back in.
Immigration police chasing you.
Yeah. But that like, things like that were really cool, because there was, we had a finish line at the end of each day, and we had our accommodation. But because it was all a little bit loose in between as well, you got to experience really cool things like that. And if you're sort of formulated or with a group or on a tour guide, that sort of thing, you don't get some of those experiences. And like, when we reached the beach on the far side, he sort of said like, oh, hotel over this side. So we rocked around to the hotel, because that's where the Camino route was leading back around. But it's like this hotel, and it's got like treetop veranda, mezzanine. So we're like, early lunchtime. So we ended up going up there.
Yeah.
we've made up. Well, you'll like this. We thought, yeah, great. We've made up the time on it, and then we're sitting there having a beer, having our lunch, everything like that, and look at the watch, and it's like, lads, we haven't sat here this long. So in Portugal are on the same time as us.
Oh, it's an hour. Yeah.
Yeah. No, we all look like you look like Sean now. You're like, like, so we any little bit of time we'd made up, we just have to give them back. So like, right, lads, we've 30K to do, and we're halfway through our second beer. We need to get the show back on the road.
That's all right for you, Sue, but your man walking must be like, here, I'll see you in the morning. I'm going to walk all night at this stage.
Yeah, I think there was once or twice he was very close to getting a bike and just going the rest of the way on wheels.
That's the way I would have done it. Fact that.
As we got towards the last day of it, how were you all holding up come the last morning? Because any event we've done from Mizzen to Malin or Sean, the next morning after he does any of his ultras, the next morning, but especially the last morning, how was everyone getting up, getting moving? Had the brain matched the output of the body?
No, like the last day, again, what I was sort of saying, like, I'm fairly confident I could do 10K. It was sort of within the hour. And on the last day, it's kind of like, right, feeling good, went to run. It was like, no. Just the legs said absolutely not. So then you're kind of going, right, it's 40, I think it was 48K on the last day. You're like, this is going to be a long day. So
and you're left 3 hours later, then your buddy was already walking.
So by day 5, you're drained. You've absolutely nothing left in the tank. I tried to run, wasn't working. And on the day before that, on day 4, like, we'd been blessed with the weather up until then. It was nice and sunny, but you weren't getting scorched out of it. But on day 4, heavens opened and we got about a month's worth of rain in one day. So we were 10 minutes in and you are just sodden. Your feet are soaked, your socks are soaked, everything you have. Like, we had ponchos and things like that, but they were no use. Like, even the ponchos were soaked through. So like, yeah, and you're facing into 40K of that with your backpack, so everything's chafing and everything's just misery for that day.
At least you sent the rest of your clothes on for £7. That was £7 well spent.
Was this one of those days though where you want to be just in the hotel and go, you know what, not today, we'll make it up tomorrow and go from there? Or are you stuck with the flight coming back at the end and locked with times there?
No, it was actually nice that it bucketed rain, and there was something quite enjoyable about the hurt of having to dog it out.
All right, David Goggins.
No, but it was, because, like, again, you weren't under time pressure. You weren't under, like, you know yourself, when it buckets rain on race day or something like that, and it throws a spanner in the works. But again, because you don't have this outside pressure, you haven't says, right, I need to be at the finish line at a certain time, or you've got friends or family in the crowd that are going to wave at you and you have to be there because they're invested all their time into this day as well. So it was actually, once you were wet and you were soaked through, you're like, well, fuck it, I can't get any wetter. So you just kind of got on with it. You'd asked me as well if you would recommend something for people to do or for the Camino. That's what they should do. That's your pilgrim passport. So as you're traveling along and everything like that, there's like coffee shops and people sort of selling wristbands and necklaces and everything like that all along the way in all the churches. You get your passport stamped as you go along. And when you get to your final location, you bring your passport in it and they check all your stamps that you've got done along the way to certify that you did do X amount of mileage. So when they saw where we started in Porto and then where we finished, and they kind of put it into a supercomputer and calculate your mileage and your route and everything like that, and they verify it by all the different stamps you're doing along the way to say, yeah, you were in Rush and then you went to Lusk and then you went to Skerries, and you can follow your route and plot it all along the way. So I definitely recommend getting one of those.
far is it in total, Munro? I know you covered 240. How much could you do?
I think it's about 7 something. It's because
Wow.
we started.
Kilometers?
Yeah.
So how do you decide where to start?
And this is the thing, and like we were talking to loads of people, they say like the Camino is addictive. So they'll go and do, say, the route that we did. They'll do that this year, but then the following year, rather than starting in Porto, they'll start in France and work their way down. Or sorry, they'll start in the north of Spain and work down, rather than going up like we did. So
Just keep
you can
changing your
choose.
start and finish point. Yeah.
Yeah, you can choose.
And how did you pick to start in Porto? Like, why? What made you? I like Porto. I like when Marino used to manage them. Like, why would you pick Porto?
It was
Crossing
easy to
through
fly.
countries and the beer.
Well, there's beer in either country.
Different beer. It's a different shark. It's a different movie.
So no, it just it looked like a cool route, and we could fly into Porto, and then it was a 20-minute taxi ride out to like our starting location, and then it was just a straight rip up. So there was no, there was a lot of planning that went into it, but not so much into the
But
route.
logistically, it wasn't complex.
It made a lot, and it was kind of like when you're on the route and things like that. There's like a Camino sign. It's like a shell that's sort of spray painted onto pillars and things like that, and you just follow that Camino track the whole way.
So, what was your finish line then? Was there anything in particular that you were reaching at the end? Like, obviously, there's not a big flag and stuff, and photos and all the rest. But what was your finish?
You're into the center of Santiago, and there's a huge cathedral, and there's a guy. He was an explorer who sort of did the Camino the first time, and apparently that's where his remains are. And it's just this. It's like 4 times the size of Christchurch. It is spectacular and it is beautiful. Wow. And it's just in this huge sort of square, and people come there and just, that's the finishing point. And everyone communes there, or sort of like joins there and gets their photos and high fives and gets their passport stamped. And then you get your little certificate at the end.
How good was it to finish? Or were you disappointed that it was over?
Definitely the latter, because we'd been building up to it for like several months and things like that. And when it was done, it was done. And you're like, there is almost this like I know you've spoken about it before, like the Everest syndrome of, oh, I've done it. Like, what happens when the dog catches the car and everything like that? You get there and I say, yeah, I've done it. And you're like, shit, I've done it. Like, there is
what now?
But the drop off is pretty severe as well. Like, because we ended up going back to Porto that day. Sorry, the following day. So we got the bus back. It was about a 3 or 4 hour bus drive back down, and we then kind of did the night in Porto and had a few beers and celebrated and everything like that. But it is a huge sense of achievement, and you kind of go, oh my God, like, and especially when you're on the bus coming back down and you're, say, 2 blocks over and you're following the same coastline that the days before you had just come up, and you're looking at all the little towns and all the little nooks and the coffee shops and everything like that you had gone past, and you're just whizzing by it on the bus. Like, it was quite there was definitely a gap. You're kind of like, oh, now what?
It sounds like a montage. You did the end of a big sports game or something like that. You used to do Sky Sports have like a song played. There's the highlights of the game. You're just watching the highlights going back to Porto again. That's a deadly way to redo it.
We're all sitting in the bus looking out the window, all very sad. Like, you see the rain trickling down the window, and there's a tiny violin.
Crossing that finish line must have been amazing. I've seen you cross a few finish lines actually even since then. You're usually pushing the AGR branded safety car, I like to call it. It is a machine, to say the least. You usually have a compadre with you. You'd probably need an upgrade, a safety car, to try out the Camino, but you definitely tested out many wheels on Irish roads. Absolutely, yeah. We'd need the all-terrain wheels if you're going to take that. But no, for the streets of Dublin and even the streets of Ballyvaughan,
the AGR safety car with Colton in tow is a great machine.
How
it's well
is it? Obviously, you're enjoying yourself. And for those that don't know, anytime you show up, you have the AGR towel, the t-shirts, the hats, scarves, headbands, everything else. And Colton just smiling away while you're going for a 10K. How does he last a 10K? Happy as Larry.
Well, they run very fast, so he doesn't get a chance to be upset.
How do you last the 10K?
He's got a really good outlook on pretty much any sort of scenario or sort of what we put him into. He just goes with it, and as long as he's kind of got a bit of grub with him and something to look around, he's happy out. Man after your own heart, Eric, I think.
Yeah, look, you had me at grub, to be honest.
Yeah.
It's the only reason I did an Ironman. And when people don't know, obviously Colton is a huge companion for any races yourself and Cloud are doing. He comes to everything, which is great, and we say it all the time on the podcast. If you can see, you can be, and having kids in 10K, your son's done more 10Ks than me and Sean probably know at this stage.
Yeah.
But it's great to be involved and keep you motivated as well as you train towards Dublin.
Yes, absolutely. So Dublin this year, well, that's the next on the hit list for marathons, and Dublin this year has a bit more sort of added significance. So when I did, I did Dublin 2 years ago when we had that lovely rain, and
Yeah.
So I was
Colton
watching. It was horrible.
Colton was 3 days old at that stage. He was born on the 23rd, and somehow still managed to be able to go out and do the marathon on sort of no sleep, just sort of adrenaline and coffee. But that was a tough race. I think everyone had a tough day that day because of the rain and the cold and everything like that. But this year I'm going back again, but with an extra little added twist, and we're running Dublin Marathon, but this time we're going to do it with full noise cancelling headphones and in silence.
For those who don't know, and to give background, Colton is your running partner, but he was born with a hearing deficiency, for want of a better word.
Correct. So Colton was born, and he has a thing called Pendred syndrome. So when he was born, and they do the early hearing checks in the National Maternity Hospital, they were able to see that he had severe to profound hearing loss on both sides. So without those early screenings, at 1 day old, we wouldn't have known until he got a little bit older. So those early screening checks are so vital. So we got the first one. They said they weren't happy with the results, so they asked us to come back a couple of days later. We came back. They did a sort of more intense testing. They weren't happy with that. Sometimes they say there can be water and fluid in the ears, and over a couple of days that just naturally disappears, and then the hearing can be okay. Wasn't the case in Colton. So from there, they asked us to go to Grange Gorman, which is one of the lead audiology centres in the country. And from there, they sort of put electrodes on his head, and they put earbuds in his ears, and they're sending through clicks and impulses and watching for wave stimulation on his brain to see at what level or what pitch he is or isn't hearing. And after that round of testing, that's when we found out that he had the profound hearing loss on both sides. And that's at just 2 weeks old, 3 weeks old when we first heard that.
A hell of a lot to take on as parents as well. And I suppose having background to both of you, it's a testament to the two of you. The never say die attitude, as we've heard through many of the races you guys have done, and the attitude you have towards sport and enduring. You have done a hell of a lot since that moment in terms of in trying to, I suppose, be inclusive of Colton and changing how you do things, learning new things yourself. Can you talk us through a little bit of the journey you have been on since that day?
Absolutely, yeah. So at 2 months old, Colton got his first set of hearing aids. And it's funny looking back. It's not funny, but it's looking back at the photographs of him as a kid and everything like that. And you've got this tiny little baby rocking a set of hearing aids and trying to, trying to keep 2-3-month-old from not eating hearing aids or keeping them on on him is a difficult. But we kind of took the way from chatting with some of the experts and things like that. So it's eyes open, ears on. And even when he's getting a little bit frustrated and things like that and trying to pull at them, trying to keep calm and continue to keep the ears on. And the main reason for that is, although Colton was only getting a very, very slight bit of sound, he was getting sound. And if you imagine, it's like a pathway from the ear to the brain, that sort of wavelength, you could say. And if he's not wearing his hearing aids, then that path to the brain is not being activated. So by having his ears on, by having the hearing aids on, even if he's only getting a little bit of that sound, that pathway is being activated. So the brain is going, oh, I'm hearing something. Mightn't know at what clarity or at what level, but that channel is continuously being worked. So we kind of got a good analogy. And when the analogy was said to me, I think about it. It's actually, that photograph is over at the Martello Tower in Lochshinny. It's where I do some of my runs. And they said, do you imagine walking through a field and you walk through that field once? You kind of look at it and you go, that looks like there was a pathway or someone might have walked there. You walk that 100 times or 500 times. That's a proper channel now. That's a furrow. And you can instantly identify, yeah, there it is. So when he has his hearing aids on, we're just constantly repeating, sending those stimulations to the brain, because if they don't get them, the brain is super clever and kind of goes, why are we sending oxygen and energy to something we're not using? So it would stop it and send that energy off somewhere else, whether that be to pointing or hopping on one foot. But for us, we wanted him obviously to get the best benefit as he could with the hearing aids. So eyes open, ears on.
Very difficult to take it all in, I suppose, because you have to educate yourselves very quickly to, I suppose, what's the procedure here? You're taking on board the experts. You guys have to become hearing experts yourself in terms of that. Also, you're trying to make decisions about sign language. Is this the language we need to learn? Is this something we have to do? How do we communicate? There's a lot of questions that still have to be answered for you guys.
Yep. So when we'd kind of gone down the road of the hearing aids, and then with more testing and things like that, we discovered that sort of with the pendrids, in a lot of cases, as a child gets older and into their teens, even the little bit of residual hearing they do have can sometimes fade away when they're like that preteen or into their teens. So the hearing aids he had for the moment weren't going to be for him as he grew older. So that's when we started having the conversations again with the guys about cochlear implants. So we had to chat with the experts, and he had to go for an MRI, because not everyone with hearing loss would be a candidate for a cochlear implant. There has to be a certain structure within the ear that allows the cochlear to attach to it to get the benefits from it. So when we did the testing for that and it all came back okay, we then made the choice to go down the cochlear implant road. And as we're still on that road and he has since had the operation, we're learning sign language alongside it. So that's ISL, Irish Sign Language, which is a great benefit to him as well, and a great repertoire tool to have in his repertoire as he goes up, because he had the operation in March and was activated the end of April. So when he has the operation, the hearing aid is gone, and then the operation actually makes his hearing null entirely, and they don't turn the implant on immediately. There's what they call 1 month of the dark. So he has no hearing aids and no cochlear implants. So for that, we had been sort of trying to teach him a little bit of sign for food or something like that, that if he could communicate to us if he was hungry. And it's mad, like, even though he's not even 2, you're seeing sign for food, you're seeing sign for cat, dog, water, more, all these signs that are beneficial to him in regards to when he wants something or some of his needs tended to. And the reason we've kind of gone down the road of spoken language as well as sign language is if and when, say, like there's a little battery on the cocklers that he wears that gets charged every night. But if we're away or the battery goes dead, unless he's actually wearing the cocklers, he has no sound. If he goes into a swimming pool, he has no sound. If in a few years he gets annoyed with us and takes them off the side of his head because he doesn't want to listen to us.
I wish I had
He
that for
won't
Sean now
have
some days.
Yeah. So we needed an avenue and assistance to be able to communicate with him for his world. Because his world, there will be times in his world that he doesn't have sound. And we still need to be able to communicate with him. So that's where like we will be going down the road of spoken, yes, but with sign assist. So it's the ISL and is the spoken language together. So it's a two-pronged attack.
Obviously, time is of the essence. In most of these cases, early diagnosis through a myriad of things, when we look at the spectrum of autism, for example, and even in this in terms of hearing loss, because correct me if I'm wrong, Munro, I'm not an expert, but the earlier we can get an intervention of a cochlear implant, the more likely he is able to understand and hear and communicate in the spoken language. Is that correct?
Yeah, dead on. So the idea is that they try have when a child is diagnosed early, and again that's why these early screenings for newborns are so important, because I think they only came in 2013 nationwide, so like they are new in the grand scale of things. But a kid could have been gone into school 7, 8, 9 years of age with a hearing impairment, and they mightn't have been hearing what the teacher was saying or what the peers were saying, and often could have been, oh, that kid's just a messer or he's not paying attention because of a not even a late diagnosis, a non-diagnosis sometimes. But now having the diagnosis early, having the hearing aids initially, and now having the cochlear implants, like he's not even 2 and he'll be 5 months activated with his cochlear implants. Like that gives him a huge foundation and base to learn how to talk, to hear. Like how he hears with the cochlear implants is very different to how the likes of you and I hear. So his hearing is now electronically stimulated rather than through the ear canal as you and I hear. So he hears differently to you and I. So what him and I do in the mornings, we'll start at the front door of the house, we'll ring the bell, and I'll kind of tell him, now Colton, that's the bell ringing, that's the door closing, that's the handle going up, that's the tap running, that's the toilet flushing. Because all those, you and I know what it sounds like when you flush the toilet. It sounds different to him. So he has to train his brain that this is what the tap sounds like, this is what the doorbell sounds like, this is what a dog barking sounds like. So we have this full 360 narration piece alongside a sound piece, and you're giving them the narration with it of this is what this tap running sounds like, this is what the dog sounds like when he barks, this is what the car horn sounds like. So he's getting meaning behind the sound as well, so he can learn what it sounds like.
So yeah, what we hear is a doorbell could be a buzz or a ding or whatever way the electronic impulse goes into his brain. It will form a different sound than what we're hearing.
Yeah, exactly. And all we're doing now and what his brain is doing, that's just learning. Oh, that's what the doorbell is. Oh, that's what the car horn is. Oh, that's what the tap is. Because he won't know any different. That's now how he hears. So he just needs to train his brain. I don't mean just, but he will train his brain to identify that as the sound for the tap, for the car horn, for traffic, dogs barking, all that kind of stuff.
Is that retraining the brain from what you heard before the surgery?
Yeah.
Have I got that right? Oh, wow. That's that's mentally.
Yeah. And that's why they try and have the cochlear done so early that what they have learned prior, like they're manipulable, and the kids are like sponges. So if you start teaching them on how to do it and how something is now done, they take to it. But yes, I can't imagine how much of a challenge it is for a child or an adult who is down the road of a hearing loss journey to then switch from how you and I hear to then switching to a cochlear. Because it is very different.
I can't wrap my head around that.
Yeah, it's
But just hearing what you, I know he's only he's 2 and it's new, but just trying to put yourself in that position of everything you heard is now not what you hear, what you recognize something as, and literally start from scratch in that. And I understand now why it's just a whole new world for me. I'm hearing all this stuff for the first time. It's just bananas.
Yeah, it's huge, and it's, but you're seeing it already. Like, although he's only 3 months or nearly 4 months activated, you're seeing the benefits of it already. And like that, when there's a knock at the door, say he's sitting at his chair at the end of the table, and there's a knock at the door, he's kind of looking at me, kind of going, "Do you hear that? Because I heard something." So he's now beginning to associate a knock at the door, a ring at the doorbell with, you know what? And about 15, 20 seconds later, someone generally comes through the door. Or like his little music books, when you push a button and it plays 5 seconds of Mozart or something like that. He's starting to like dance and jig up and down to that sound. And then as soon as that sound,
very good,
he's kind of looking at the book and he's pushing the button again. So really, really positive association to hearing the sound. And as well, they sort of say it's a big thing for a child might understand the spoken language or hear spoken language, but then to be able to differentiate spoken language to music is another huge sort of progression piece. So the fact that he's understanding, this is different. This is a different sound. It's a different note and harmonics and things like that to how we speak. No, this is music. And he's like, "Oh, I like this." And he's having a little bop to
it. It's absolutely fantastic. And obviously he is still on his journey. The safety car, I don't think they're allowing the safety car into the Dublin Marathon this year, but are you you are running with purpose this time?
Sorry,
you are doing the Dublin Marathon with a purpose this year. Is that right, Munro?
Absolutely, yeah. So there's a charity called Chime, and their sort of sister as well charity called One, which is for Our New Ears, and they were a huge help to Clodagh, Colton and I when we got the news of his hearing loss. And they do pieces like sort of early diagnosis weekends where they bring families together with a similar story, to a conference hall in a hotel over a weekend, and just allow people that have had 10, 5, 15, 20 years experience in the industry, or family members who had a hearing aids or cochlear implants, and they kind of just trade stories and they knock down barriers and make it very accessible to have a conversation like you boys have done for me here, to allow people to talk about it and raise awareness of it and the benefits of the hearing aids, the cochlear implants, and that yes, it'll be part of his journey for the rest of his life, but it doesn't define him, and it won't define him. Like, it's just going to be something that he has, and he will go to school, he'll make pals, he'll get a job, everything like that. So it is part of his road, yep, but it's not the end of his road.
And in order to, well, firstly about the charity, we always say, particularly in our career, you can't make every mistake yourself. And to have these kind of days where people get to tell you their journey and their struggles, you save yourself 20, 30, 100 mistakes. Even though you'll make your own still on the journey, you still save time, you save research. And probably, I don't know, Munro, did you find a little bit of peace of mind to see progression in others?
Big time. Like, there was he was still wearing his hearing aids, and we got in contact with a lady from Swords, sort of lives maybe 20 minutes from where we are, and her son, who was 18 or 19, came on the call as well. And he had got cochlear implants done, and like a couple of weeks later, he was off to his Debs with his girlfriend and finishing up school and doing his leaving cert. So, like, when Colton was wearing his hearing aids and things like that, your mind is a little bit kind of like, oh, like it's challenging, yes, because the baby's new and you're first time parent, you're trying to figure it all out. But there is great solace and peace in talking with other parents who have trod a similar road and kind of going, oh yeah, I remember feeling like that. But when he wore his aids or when he got his cochlear implants, he went on and did this and achieved this. And like, it's not without its challenges for sure, but there's definitely like the future's bright, and there's a very good outlook on where we're at the moment. And from talking to a lot of other people that we now know through Chime and One, a lot of kids are doing really well because of the services that are there from Chime, from One, from speaking to other people, trading stories. Oh, I tried this. Oh, it didn't work. What did you do in this scenario? Like, they're still kids at the end of the day. Like, a 2-year-old is going to do what that other 2-year-old does. He might have a crap night's sleep or doesn't want to eat a certain food and things like that. They just have the hearing issue as well. But first and foremost, it's still a 2-year-old kid. So you have to, yes, you have to make allowances for the hearing and everything, but there's still a 2-year-old kid.
There's still the tantrums. There's still everything else that comes with it. And I suppose thanks to both Chime and One and charities and good people who gave you their time to show you brighter futures, brighter roads. He may get a chance to hear the finish line, and someone has to describe to him that this is what a finish in a marathon sounds like.
Yeah.
You will not, though. Am I right in saying that?
Yeah.
So what is it you're doing?
So the plan is I'm running Dublin Marathon with full noise cancelling headphones. I'll have a mold and then sort of headphones similar to yours, Sean, over the molds. So I won't hear any of the good heebie-jeebies that the Dublin crowd give us.
And all we have been promoting is how good it is for the crowd to be behind you. It's very fitting then, 2 years to the day you ran a miserable marathon, unknown of what the future would bring, probably with some suspicions. We have to come back, we have to check. Miserable marathon, a lot going on in your head. You're going to have a lot going on in your head in this one because it's in silence. Is that going to be a case of getting to walk a lot of miles in Colton shoes and a feeling for what it's like and raising awareness, I suppose, of what it is?
Yeah, that's it. It is. It's an awareness piece, and to try have some sort of inkling or understanding what it is like for someone with a hearing loss journey to have no sound, and to walk a mile in their shoes. Like, you know yourself, even when we put the headphones on and things like that, even when they are with music or something like that, it can distract you, and it's a great distraction piece for helping with the long run. But when you're with your own thoughts for that amount of time, it's going to be very different. So it is to mainly just to raise awareness and allow people know that might be having a similar journey or maybe putting off reaching out to someone, that there are these great services there that they can help and do help, and that should reach out to them.
Have you tried run in silence so far? Because even if someone's listening to this podcast and they go into a car park and they're trying to park the car, you naturally lower the sound down to concentrate a little bit more and that kind of thing.
You do, because you're a shit driver.
There's at least one other person listening that relates to me on this one. I swear it has to be.
And if you relate, you're a shit driver.
Okay, maybe it's just me and one other person listening that's a shit driver, but the point still remains. Sound comes into how you're thinking. If something's like, no, lower that down, let me think about that kind of thing. So, like, that, if that affects you, to have no noise at all is something that you rarely experience. So for you to experience that for your, hopefully get sub 4 this time in a Dublin Marathon, but for going for that long, have you practiced that kind of running with no noise? And like, it's very hard to do that in the streets, I can imagine, obviously with traffic and all the rest.
Yeah, I have tried it in certain locations, so like in Argyllin Park and things like that, which is close by, and it's very different. Like, you don't hear the soles of your feet. You're barely even hearing your heart. Like, you're feeling your heartbeat, and all your other senses become very, very aware of what your body's doing and how you're moving and everything like that. It takes a little bit of getting used to, and it'll be a challenge for sure.
Is it scary? Because like a little bit, like even simple things like, on your left and this kind of thing, and that amount of people around you, like you can kind of sense that someone's coming up on you, that kind of thing, but not knowing someone's coming up, but someone is coming up.
Yeah, your head is on a bit of a swivel, and you're having to rely on your other senses to kick into hyperdrive to keep you safe, and like that will be a crucial part for doing the marathon and things like that. And there's one of the guys who's running with me. He is my guide essentially, so that if there are, like Team Corey and things like that go flying fast, they run a lot faster than me, so that they can give me a tap on the elbow to say, right, Munro, step into the left or step to the right, or there could be God forbid, there's an ambulance coming behind you or something like that. So, like, I have to be sensible about it as well and take into consideration the other people that are in the race. So yeah, there is one of the lads running with me that will be my essentially ears for a safety purpose on it.
I thought you were just being a daredevil on a pun intended for the one person who got that reference.
Oh, Sean, leave the jokes to me, will you? Munro, it is going to be quite a new experience. Having come through, because life happens very fast, particularly in what yous have been dealt with. It's always the next thing. You guys have traveled to the UK to have them as part of research. You're researching yourselves on all the percentages that every guest on this podcast has talked about, the percentages to be better, the percentages to gain here, there, and everywhere. And you guys are doing that for Colton. You've got 4 hours-ish, we'll say. Let's say 3:45. You've got 3:45 hours to think about everything that's gone on for the last 2 years. What, obviously, the senses, the achievement of the marathon, but what you've done a lot of marathons. We've talked about the Camino. What does this one mean to you? Does it mean that a little bit more?
I'll tell you when I finish it.
If you finish it. No, I'm joking.
Oh, no, definitely. Even already, and the fact that we're trying to raise awareness, we're trying to raise a few quid as well for Chime and One, that there is a bit of a weight of wanting to do well for them, for Colton. I'm training bloody hard, so there's I want to do well for myself. There's a little bit of I think this is my 4th Dublin, and it's kicked my arse every time. Like I said, I've never done 4 hours in Dublin, so that will be, obviously, get around it safely is the first goal. But I'd love to break 4 in Dublin. It's not a course I found easy, so there is that challenge piece on it as well. But yeah, it's going to be a very, very special day, and having spent 3:45 or 4 hours in your head with no music, no street sounds, no randomers eyeballing you saying, come on, you got this. It'll be weird coming towards the end and getting over the finish line. Like, it's one I'm looking forward to, but also a little bit apprehensive about it too.
And for those who are listening to you, Munro, and are thinking, this is amazing, we would love to support you, you're going to have a t-shirt on, hopefully representing, so people are aware that you can't hear them. So if they're shouting abuse at you, it's like me talking to Sean. He just doesn't listen. It's people will be aware that you're doing it. How do people find out more about what it is you're doing and why it is you're doing it?
Yeah, so the t-shirt I'm wearing will have a graphic on the back stating that I can't hear and that I'm running in silence for Chime and One. So they will see it, and then obviously my mate will be running alongside, so he'll be able to guide people if they're come behind. For finding out more about the work that Chime do and why I'm doing this, we've set up so if you just Google I donate as one word with Munro, you'll see it's the first one that comes up, and it says Munro Ruigrok running in silence for Chime and One. And they're all the links to Chime and the work that they do and the awareness that they're trying to achieve is all, you can all find that through
the page.
And not only that, you've also mentioned that so many people have been fundamental in this, and be it their job, be it their responsibility, be it just the nature of it. You guys have been very open, and I think Clodagh may have written a letter that I saw online to all those who've been involved in the steps of getting you guys into this position.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, so Clodagh wrote a letter to like a poem, a very heartfelt poem, to the audiologist, the first audiologist who actually carried out Colton's first screening, and sent it to the National Maternity Hospital. And the audiographer actually reached out to us, and we've been in contact with her and her team, and letting her know, and the rest of the guys in there, sort of that without them on those initial first steps, those hours born, like it was just another test for her, set us up and gave us the information that allows Clodagh and I equip ourselves as best as possible to give Colton the best chance and the best start in life. And without those folks, like, who knows when those diagnoses would have been.
And that's why this run is more than just a run. It is about raising awareness. It is about a thank you for those, and for those who will continue to support you on your way, and two fantastic charities that you're running for. It is great. We hope you get all the support. For those who are looking to follow, we will actually put the links in the show notes for those pages. We will also put a link on the anygivenrunday.com. We'll put up a little circle that used to be the scratch map. It'll now turn into the I Donate page link for Munro's charity. So for those of you who can get out and support, no point cheering for them, throw eggs at them, but it's but if you can support, please do. It's a fantastic cause, and for those who have showed up to a few of the 10Ks and runs and park runs around, you will have seen Colton. He's probably been faster than most of us. Do support. It's a fantastic thing. We really do wish you the best, Munro. It's been such a privilege to hear your story, Colton's story, and we really do wish you all the best. It's going to be probably something we have to get you on for some feedback on what it was like to run in silence in Dublin. It's definitely a new one, but we really do wish you all the best.
Thanks a million, and thanks for championing it, and keep up the great work on the pod. It's absolutely class.
And that is it for this week's episode of the Any Given Run Day podcast. Myself, Munro, and Eric. Take care.